Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings. Sorry for the slightly late start. As I always say, whenever I do a live stream, there's always some kind of a technical issue going on, and well, it's started already. I'm pleased to say, if you've been watching, I think certainly the last live stream and some of the videos, you'll have noticed that I have got the grass monkey king puck back on. I just had just about had enough of trying to get the Toby to work as I was used to, and this is just amazing to get back to using this again. The ability to look around intuitively is wonderful, and I don't care if I've got something stuck to the side of my head. And also just to be able to, oh, that's interesting. Now, okay, there was me being all cocky. I wonder why that's not working now. It's recentering. Okay, so before I was able to freeze to a point on the wherever I wanted to look, and now it is recentering it. So there you go. That's exactly what I mean. Technical difficulties are always going to happen, and this is quite a good opportunity to say this is going to be quite a chilled out flight for you. For me, maybe not quite so, but this is so I'm inexperienced when it comes to IFR, ATC, hand flying in this aircraft. I've done a fair bit of this sort of thing in the King Air, where you take off and then you're on autopilot, and it's fairly simple. But actually doing it in this aircraft without autopilot, and I've got to say the visibility is a lot better now. When I looked earlier, it was pretty shocking, but it's cleared a little bit. But I still think we're going to be getting into cloud. So again, it's going to be instrument flying, which again I'm inexperienced at. So this is a good opportunity to say, and I mean this for your own. In fact, I mean this for you, for your well-being, for your mental health. If you are the kind of person who maybe you know a lot about this sort of thing, and you find watching someone who isn't quite as knowledgeable as you and experienced as you making a hash of things, and it winds you up and it gets you irritated and it makes you want to leave things in the comments, or it just makes you angry, then this probably isn't for you. If you want to come along for a chilled out flight and watch someone learning the ropes, which is really what this is, then you are more than welcome. The whole point of me doing this kind of flight is to push myself to a point where I am exposing the weaknesses. It's very easy to do the same thing over and over again and not stretch yourself. And the point of doing this is to stretch myself and to do things I wouldn't normally do. And that way you kind of find out where your errors are. In the flight that I did the other day that I made a video of, it's quite interesting where those errors come out. For example, I was cleared direct to, I was flying a SID, and then I was cleared direct to the final point, more or less as soon as I'd taken off. And for that moment in time, I was like, well, what am I meant to do now? Do I carry on, or do I go direct, or what height am I meant to be at? And for that moment, I was utterly confused until of course, it dawned on me, the controllers just cleared you direct, you idiot. So you fly direct. The whole altitude thing was then another question, really. And I had to keep asking for height because I was heading towards a mountain, altitude change, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, so what's that? I'm just looking in the chat. FD Miller, I'm glad you made it. Good to have you along. Joe's, good to have you here. Guy, incorrect terminology for talking about the weather. Very angry. Oh, do you see? That's what I'm talking about, Guy. What can I say? Guy's all right. I don't mind a bit of bants. You need to show us those squadron prints close up one day. Yeah, they. I suppose you can't. Yeah. Let me just see if I can lock it off. So that is the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, P7350, and that is Gilda, as she used to look some time ago. I've got that one up there because I flew in a. You can't see it, but up there we've got the silver Spitfire. There's quite a few, but yeah, it is good to have them all here. Now I'm wondering why. Why is that centering? So, oh, why is that centering and not? So bear with me, folks. Bear with me because it's quite important I get this set up. I've reinstalled OpenTrack and all that kind of good stuff. I think what's happening here is that although it worked absolutely fine before, so toggle. So I want toggle. So that isn't actually. I wonder why it's doing that. There's obviously something conflicting with it. If I press that button there. Okay, so let's just try something. Sorry, folks, bear with me. Bear with me. I told you it was going to be chilled out. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. There it is. It's because I had it in helicopter mode before and I put it into GA mode now and I forgot to change this button for that. So we're going to get rid of you. You can go away. Absolutely. Back you go. Doobie-doo. And is it going to do anything or am I going to restart that now? Okay. Looks like the head tracking is now completely frozen up. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's just jump out. Just checking there. No, that's freezing it. That has completely gone, but that's still working. Oh, the joys of flight simming. It would be boring if it was simple, wouldn't it, eh? Yeah, that has locked up. So let's restart. Hopefully that's not going to do it in the flight because I'm not going to be able to restart it if we do that way. And here we are, wonderful Innsbruck. And right, okay. So that's come back again. So that is a strange little thing. For some reason, it was locking up there, but now we've got it back and everything's working. Head tracking is good. And if I do that, ta-da, it locks in the view I want. And that's another thing that I missed from the Toby. I wasn't able to do that, so that's good. Right, so I'm going to put you away there. You I don't need to worry about, and that is all good to go. Quick catch up with the chat, and it's good to see you. Kind of in your neck of the woods again. Right, so let's see if this is going to work here. I'm going to show you. There we go. So this is our route. The wind's changed since I did this initially this morning. We were going to be flying a SID out this way, but the wind has almost flipped on itself. So we're going to be flying over here to Adillo, and this is obviously what I'm thinking about in terms of climbing. Something else I should say, by the way, is this is a simulator. We're going to suspend our imaginations for a moment and imagine that I have got one of those oxygen bottles with a cannula or whatever they're called, just in case we have to go too high, just in case we need to go on oxygen. I've got one of those on the seat next to me, so we're just going to pretend this is a simulator. It's not real. We're going to pretend that I've got a bottle of oxygen next to me. Anyway, this is the route, and then we're going to be flying the what is it? The Negra 2 Alpha arrival into Zurich. So looking forward to that. But that gives you an idea of what we're going to be doing anyway. Right, so I'm actually going to remember to do it. Look at this, watch. I remembered to take the map away. Usually you'd be sitting there looking at the map for the next 10 minutes. That's professionalism, folks. That's professionalism. Right, okay, so luckily for you, because of the amount of concentration I have to do, I might go a bit quiet at times, so do bear with me if and when that happens. Just get a few things set up. There we go. Fabio, I'm in love with this plane, flying in VR. Greetings from Brazil. Hello to Brazil. Yeah, it is a wonderful plane, and I need to do more VR flying. It is great fun. and so immersive, especially in this aircraft. Right, so fuel, I'm going to leave the fuel as it is because that's what we had last time. I've not got any passengers, not got any baggage or anything like that. Quick look here, that's okay. I'm using the TDS GTNxi 750, which is a lovely piece of kit. Right, so first things first, let's get rid of the bungees. Let's get rid of that so we can see what's going on. Quick check that the parking brake is on, which it is. That's fine. Let's go back here. Checklists. So we're going to do the walk around now. And first thing I'm going to do is we're going to pop over here. Well, we're going to open the door. God, it's so easy to do it with this instead of that Toby thing. Boom. No, wrong one. Ugh, there we go. We're going to pop that off. We're going to pop back in. And we will just reset that. There we go. We'll have master switch on, pitot heat on, and I'm just going to warm up the pitot head for the time being, just checking that we've got green down there, and I'm going to turn on all the lights. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And then I'm going to jump out, and I'm just going to quickly check the lights. So we've got our nav light there is working fine. Let's have a look around here. Blimey, we're blinded by the light, as Bruce Springsteen once said. Let's have a look under here. Can we see it? There we go. The strobe's doing nicely. Where should we go now? Let's go around to here. Boom, getting blinded again. We'll have a quick look at the nav light there. Oh, I nearly forgot, didn't I? We were here for a reason. Ouch, that's hot. And then we'll pop to the back and we can see the two lights here are working, the tail lights. And we can see our rotating beacon on the top here is rotating nicely. And also we can hear it, which is pretty damn cool. Okay, so back in, let's turn everything off so that we don't waste our battery. And then we can have the master switch off. Just noticed the autopilot switch was in the on position. It's very silly. Right, let's drop the flap. We've got a nice mechanical flap, so we don't have to worry about any motors needing running. We've got both fuel tanks selected, which we're going to need to check the sump, and everything else is cool. Okay, so let's hop out. Give that a good, yeah, that's all good. Pop to the next station. Yeah, that's nice and solid. Haven't really got anything in the tip tanks, but we'll have a look. Again, so much easier with the grass monkey instead of that Toby. I'm not completely anti-Toby, I have to say, and I will talk a bit about that. First dram of the day, he said in a pretty awful Scottish accent. When you're flying IFR with me, you need a bit of that. That's all I'm going to say. Right, we haven't got any tie downs or anything like that involved. Quick look here. Let's check the wing tank. Yep, that's all good. Close that. And let's pop underneath. Come on, get the click spot. Remove the chock. Check the condition of the tyres, and that's all good. So I'm happy with that. Quick look underneath, open the hatch and wallop. So we're just checking for water. We have no water. Second dram of the day. Get down, there we go. Right, pop around here. Everything's looking good there. Check the propeller. Propeller's in good condition. And around here. Now we'll check the oil. Now, as someone pointed out on the last video, I had it in my mind that 9 was a magic number, and I mistakenly thought that we had to be over 9. But actually, it's meant to be just under, and I'd actually topped it up, and the person commented that if you go over 9, it actually leaks a little bit. So apologies to the general manager at Innsbruck if I'm leaking a bit of oil. I do apologise. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's little things like that that make you remember. And I find that quite useful. I learn a lot more by doing than I do by reading a manual. Obviously, you read the manual first, but yeah, okay, that's looking good. And pop that back, and underneath, and we'll remove the chalk and just have a look at there. That's all good. Move along to here. Oh, I'm loving having head tracking back. Check the old stall warning intake. That's all good. We checked the light before. And the third and final dram of the day. Yep, that's okay. And underneath. And while no one's looking. There we go. That's all good. And back here. You do have to be careful with AccuSim because it will bite you. You're not just wafting these things around just for fun of it. Something can go wrong. Just checking the static intake. That's good. Right, there we go. That's all good. Check the rudder. That feels all good. Tie down is disconnected. Back round here. Static intake is clear. And we'll have a look here. No baggage. Get rid of the baggage. And we are good to go. So back in the pilot seat. Quick catch up on the chat. Don't forget to remove the covers and the choke. Yes, Fabio. Yeah, I should say I do make mistakes, but it's always worth kind of watching the video before you assume that I haven't done something. It's funny enough, someone on the previous video, he actually edited his comment. He started off by saying, "Oh, you haven't checked the stall warner intake." And then he realised that I'd popped out to check the lights, and then I'd popped back in, turned everything off, and then gone back out again to do everything else. So, and it was actually a real-world pilot that told me about doing the walk around in 2 phases. Just because I can do this now, I'm going to do it and show off. There we go, log it off. So what he said was, what he does is he jumps in, he turns on the battery, he turns on the lights, he turns on the pitot heat, he walks around the aeroplane checking those first, and then once he's done that, he jumps back in, and then he turns everything off and turns the battery back off again. So it's like a 2-phase walk around. The last time I did a walk around on a real aircraft was in 1992, and it was a Cessna 152, and I honestly can't remember how we did it. I want to say that we probably just switched the battery on and just did everything. I can't remember, if I'm honest, but I quite liked the way he described it, and also it's quite good for doing like a live stream where you're talking to people, because if you're just doing this on your own and you're not faffing about talking to people, you can just quickly run through it and do it. But yeah, while you're talking to people, it's quite a good idea to turn everything off, especially if you mean you start havering. Why did you need to turn the pitot on in the first check? Hopefully, Fabio, I've just answered that. I know there's probably a bit of lag with the chat, but hopefully I've just answered that. Aidan, hope you're well. Good to see you, mate. If I haven't answered that question, Fabio, give me a shout and I'll explain it again. But hopefully I've just gone through that. Right, okay, so we've done the walk around. I can put that back on. Let's go. So checklist, pre-flight is complete. Passengers, that's you, are briefed. Seatbelts are secure, of course. Control locks I have removed. Parking brake is set. Actually, let's hang on a minute. There we go. Look at that. God, it's such a luxury. Parking brake is set, gear switch is down, and I'm just checking my physical controller because sometimes that's embarrassing and it pops up. Flaps are up now because we've checked those. Radios are off, and that's off. Autopilot master is off. That was on before. It's got persistence, this aircraft, so if you mess about with switches and then come back to it, the switches will still be in the configuration that you had before. That's interesting. Okay. I think I've got a switch somewhere that's putting autopilot on, maybe. I think I might know which one it is. No, okay. That's another story. I'll tell you about that if you're really bored when we get up there. Right, circuit breakers are all in. You have to watch that. Rotating beacon on. Engine start. Right, now we can take that off again. Okay, both fuel tanks are on. Let's do this. I have a tendency to jump ahead, and that's how you miss things. Throttle's cracked, prop is fully forward, carpet is off, master switch is on. You can hear the rotating beacon there. Fuel pump is on. Let's have a check of a few things. Fuel is good. Checking for fuel pressure now. Fuel pressure is good. And we can have fuel pump off. Now we can pump up the jams. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll give it 5. Quick check here. That's good. Just put my feet on the rudder just in case. Every start is a little bit different in the Comanche because it's so alive, so let's see what we get. Both mags, shout out the window. Clear prop! Go on, love. There we go. There we go. She's alive. Quick look down here. Oil pressure's good. Be a bit worrying if it wasn't. Okay. Lean the mixture. Not as much as that though. Okay. Let's do that again. So what silly boy did there was he leaned it too much. Isn't it funny? I don't think I've ever done that. But today on a live stream I did it. Isn't it great? Come on, girl. There we go. Of course, just listening to the engine there. Right, so that's all good. Let's have nav lights on, avionics master on, and that is all fine. While I quickly remember, update the digital monitor. Oh, it started raining. Let's clear that, exit that, update digital monitor, so that's good. And we are back there. Just warm the engine round about there. Okay, so we'll just let it warm up. Quick catch up with the chat. Hey Ben, hope you're good. Oh Fabio, I've got a feeling you're going to be one of those armchair flight instructors, aren't you? Yes Ben, yeah, I am. I'm using SayIntentions.AI just to more than anything, it's for me to learn how to use it and also to experiment with it. Because sometimes it can do some funny things. So between the two of us, it can be quite amusing. So catalog, menu, import. See if I can find it. I'm sure. I wonder. Yeah, okay. I know what's wrong. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just going to zoom in on that. Because I did have a flight plan before, I'm just checking that it's not accidentally loaded in the original flight plan, and it hasn't. That's good. Okay, so I'm just going to cross-check it against over here. Yeah, that's looking good. I have had instances before where, very embarrassingly, you end up with the wrong or a different flight plan in the two units. So we go for that. Go for that. Procedure. I'm gonna the Negra 2 Alpha. Checking that ICAO. LSZH is correct, and it's the Negra 2 Alpha. Transition is Negra. That's so good, and boom. So that's all fine. Okay, right. So now we're going to start using the ATC. Well, first of all, we're going to start get hold of the ATIS. Wrong one. Wrong click spot. Let's close that there. And let's find that. There we are. Right, ATIS 126.03.
Asian Mike 1650 Zulu. Wind 245 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, view at 500 feet. Scattered at 2800 feet. Broken at 4000 feet. Temperature 9er. Dew point 8. QNH 1011. Transition level 110. Arriving and departing runways 2608. Caution bird activity. Visual approaches in use. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if basic information service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Mike.
Information Mike.
Information Mike. 1650 Zulu. Wind 245 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, view at 500 feet. Scattered at 2800 feet. Broken at 4000.
Oh, do you know what I just realised?
Temperature 9er.
Right, let's put it onto tower.
QNH 1011.
Can you hear that banging?
Transition level 110. Arriving and departing runways 26.
There we go. So I put it onto tower. Can you hear that banging? There we go. Oh no. There we go. We hadn't closed the door properly. That's what I love about this aeroplane. This is why it's such a great learning platform, because it will do funny things like that. Quickly checking the T's and P's. Right, quick catch up with the chat. I hope they've improved the app. I was banned for apparently terrorism. I may have terrified some cows, but landing in a field. I do seem to remember reading that. Yeah, you have to be, because it's using AI, you can say things to it that it interprets it as being a misuse of the system, and it gets very sensitive. So you do have to be very careful what you say. Computers are taking over. Guy, the aerodrome first air in Las Vegas. You guys get to go to all the cool places, Guy. That sounds fantastic. It's good fun doing that sort of thing. Actually, I don't know if this will still work. So this isn't my Discord. This is a Discord called the Aerodrome that I set up, but is now being run by people who know what they're doing. And they do some wonderful group flights and things like that. And Guy, who is in the chat, organises some really good, they're almost like military exercises. They're quite detailed and they go on for a while. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's give it a try. Hopefully at some point a magic link will appear. It's not looking hopeful, is it? Oh, there you go. So that as I say, it's not my Discord. It's a Discord called the Aerodrome. They do some great group flights on there. So pop along to that if you like. Ben, are you still using the Toby? I'm not. I'm using. I don't know if you can see it. I'm back to using the Grass Monkey King Puck. I got absolutely sick and tired of using the Toby, if I'm honest. I tried lots of different settings. In fact, Alpha, who runs the Aerodrome, gave me some tips with regards to what settings to use for it, and it certainly improved it. But it's really hard to describe. So the Toby, I wasn't using the eye tracking function at all. I was just using the head tracking, and it just couldn't track head movements in the precise way that this kind of traditional head tracking can. So as I move, like this for example, moving backwards and forwards, looking up, looking over, looking around, and I mean, an obvious little thing is, and you know, if I was in the Spitfire, it'd make more sense. But being able to kind of look around, it just wasn't the same with the Toby. It was kind of, it felt restricted. It felt like it's very clever, but it just wasn't precise. So I have tried. I've given up now. It's now sitting over there. It's either going to go on eBay or I might wait and see what happens with 2024, because when I sought some help on the in the Toby Discord, a couple of people were saying that it's not Toby's fault. It's down to the settings that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, for example, the ability to do that, which is a basic head tracking thing, apparently they say it's down to the fact that Microsoft haven't built it into, or Asobo haven't built it into the sim. So anyway, that might come into it. Fly Supreme, hello, hope you are well, good to have you along, sir. Disappointing considering how much it costs. Yeah, I kind of feel like that, but I'm keeping an open mind. As I say, hopefully I'll be able to use it, and you know, there's a lot of people that do use it. I just think I've spent it must be somewhere between 15 and 20 years using traditional head tracking, Track IR, and now the Grass Monkey King Puck. And I'm so used to just, my head will just go wherever I need it to go. You know, that's just what I'm used to. Whereas with the Toby, it was a bit wishy-washy. And also you'd get, you know, kind of be doing that even though your head was in the same place. Tried lots of different settings, didn't have eye tracking enabled, but it still did it. But yeah, it was one of those things. Right, we need to get bleeding flying, don't we? So I have got the tower frequency set. Have you got the tower frequency set? We have. There's no ground here, so I'm going to request my IFR clearance. And it was Mike, wasn't it? Innsbruck Tower, Golf Alpha Papa X-Ray Juliet with Mike, requests IFR clearance. I think that's gone through. Yeah, that's gone through. It's having a think. Yes, Ben, you're right. If it ain't broke, exactly, my friend. So, SayIntentions is still thinking about it. I wonder if I can...
Golf X-Ray Juliet information. Mike is current cleared to Zurich after departure. Fly runway heading until reaching 5,000 feet. Then proceed direct to Adilo. Then as filed, departure runway 26. Initial climb altitude 5,000 feet. Departure on 128.975 squawk 2221.
Golf X-Ray Juliet is cleared to Zurich. After departure, fly runway heading until reaching 5,000 feet, then proceed direct to Adilo. Then as filed, departure runway 26, initial climb altitude 5,000 feet, departure on 128.975, squawk 2221. Golf X-Ray Juliet.
Golf X-Ray Juliet, read back correct.
Well, thank you, my good man. Right, so we got 2221 in the box. What else did we get? 128.975. So I'm going to put that in here now. 128.975, and then we won't have any embarrassing moments where you're like, what was the frequency? Pop that in there. Anything else? The QNH we've got. Yeah, so that's all good. That's in the box. We've warmed up nicely. It's still raining. What more could you possibly ask for? Right. It's in moments like this that I start to doubt myself. Have I thought of everything? I'll tell you something I will look at. Let's just do the trim. Get the trim nice and neutral. Okay. Quick check of the chat. I'd love to be able to use SayIntentions heli flying and off-field landings. We'll have to yeah, I mean, I haven't tried it yet, Guy, but apparently you can do all that, or you can do something with it. But it's not something that I've really tried. I think I've done one VFR flight, but that was it now? Yeah, that was fixed wing. So yeah, not quite the same. Right, I'm losing track of what I was going to do. I have done that. I've done that. Now we need to think about flying out. So let's bring the checklist up again. Right, taxi primer is locked. Avionics master is on. Ammeter check. Radios are on because we've used them. Jumped ahead there a little bit. Heading indicator we need to set. So let's have a quick look. That is well out. You do have to be a little bit careful with the old Comanche. And something actually on the video that I did where we got here, I hadn't noticed that it actually drifted in the flight as well. I was so focused on using the GTN and flying the needle that that just kind of doesn't make sense, does it? But I hadn't noticed that there was such a difference, and it actually, I think it was someone remarked in the comments it was 15 degrees difference. So pop that out there. Let's have a quick look over here. So we're going to fly runway heading So I'm just looking over here. Runway heading is 257. So let's put that in there. Come here. There we go. That's about right. There. So we've got 257 in. That's all set up. That is good to go. Right. Undergear lamp is green. Nav lights as required. We've got those on. Parking brake release, and we're going to check the brakes. Quick look around. I haven't got multiplayer on. The reason I haven't got multiplayer on is because I had multiplayer on the other flight, and the next thing I've got someone taking off towards me because they didn't have the same settings. So I've turned all that off for this one. So we're just going to do away with that for the time being, and let's get that's all set up. That's fine. Okay. Quick look over here. Request taxis runway 26, Golf X-ray Juliet. Evening, Crushhead.
Golf X-ray Juliet, taxi to runway 26 via Alpha Bravo.
Taxi to 26 via Alpha Bravo, Golf X-ray Juliet. So let's have a look down here. So we're on, this is Alpha and then Bravo, and then we're on to 26. There, right. Let's put the pen down. You don't need a pen. Pen ain't going to save you now, boy. Quick look down here. Okay, right. Let's turn the... I've just turned the physical brake off. Bear with me. There we go. Right. Let's just recheck that. That's all good. I've taken the brake off. Brakes are working very nicely. I'm going to go this away to avoid the big jet. And this fella here needs to get out of the way. You might well look like that, my friend. You're about to get a Comanche haircut. See where I'm leaning my head over, like somehow that's going to help him. Watch the tip tank. Look at that. He just likes tip tanks. Okay, so yeah, the weather is pretty grotty, isn't it? Pretty grotty. Visibility has dropped a fair bit as well, so that should be quite interesting. At least knowing that there's no multiplayer, I know that I'm not suddenly going to get someone coming towards me at the rate of knots. Right, let's just bring, just concentrate a little bit. So I'm going to take it a little bit further, and then I can do the warm up over here. I'm not entirely sure where we would do the warm up, but it seems to be sensible to do it kind of out the way. Look how dark it's getting. Let's turn our instrument lights up a little bit. I have a feeling we might need that. Get that nice and bright. Right, let's get the checklist up again. Right, run up. Right, position into wind. We are. Brakes I'm holding. Fuel quantities check. That's good. Mixture I'm going to put fully rich. Fuel is desired tanks. It's on both of them. We desire them both. Throttle to 2000 RPM. Oh, it's a little bit ropey, possibly a bit carb icing, not carb, possibly sparks a little bit fouled. That's okay. Just looking at the instruments here, that's absolutely fine. Magnetos we're going to check. It's dropping quite a bit, isn't it? Now really, this is one of those things where someone will comment, you should be taking an aeroplane up that does that. But it's actually, oh, it's not too bad now. It's actually one of the, right, let's just... So I keep waffling and we've got a checklist to run through. Just cycling the prop. Right, now we're going to put it to 1800. See if it holds. It's holding, the governor's working fine, and then we will check the carb heat. Put that fully forward. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go, you can see. carpet is probably something we're going to have to use on this flight. Right, let's have a quick look, because this is something you can do with the A2A Comanche, of course. So if we look at here, you see the size of these blobs. That's kind of showing what the spark plug is doing. You can see we've got a little one there, so we've got a little bit of spark plug fouling going on. You can also actually see here we've got a little bit of carbicing going on as well. So we are definitely going to have to use that, I think. In fact, let's put that on. Do you know what? This is one of those moments. This is one of those moments. Let's have a quick look. Checklist. Carb heat check. We've done that before takeoff. Carb heat off. Yeah, you see, I'm thinking we definitely do not want to be taking off with carb heat on, because we lose a little bit of power. So even though we're picking up a bit of carb icing, this is one of those interesting moments. This is one of those, what would a real world pilot do? Because yeah, interesting. Okay, where do we get to before takeoff? Let's bring that back down. Let's not too much, so you cut the engine off again. Right, controls. Free and correct. Can't really see the back too much from here, but yeah, that's working fine. And rudder is good. Flaps we're not going to use. Door is latched. Now that I've done that, fuel selector side tank is there. Fuel pump is on. Mixture we're now going to put to full rich. Both fuel gauges are absolutely fine. Prop lever fully forward. Carb heat is off. Just left that on a bit just to keep things warming up. Engine gauges check. Yep, that's all looking good. Strobes. Let's have strobe. We'll put the landing lights on now, and we're good to go. So takeoff. There you go. That's that. Right, let's taxi to the holding point. It's gone very murky, just in time. Just in time for us to depart. Okie doke. Wind doesn't look too bad though at all, does it? It's maybe gusting slightly, but it's more the fact that the visibility is going to be pretty bad. Right, quick catch up on the chat before we go. Oh, brilliant, Cressida, you watched it. Brilliant, yes, you saw the original flight. I was saying at the beginning, I don't know if you caught it, that this is almost like a follow-on. Because you watched it, so you know what happened. You know some of the mistakes. So this is kind of throwing myself into the fire again, just to have another go at it. And to see what happens more than anything. What's this? I did helicopter operations last week. Hover and air taxi. Oh, cool! That I'm going to have to try, because I'm flying helicopters a lot. Ben, you've uninstalled MSFS for 24. Yeah, interested to see what that's going to be like. Interested to see what that's going to be like. Right, okay, let's get flying. Right. Having a moment, just thinking through, making sure I've not forgotten everything. That's all dialed in, isn't it? Yeah. Holding runway 26, ready for departure, Golf X-ray Juliet. I should say, by the way, folks, my phraseology probably isn't absolutely spot on, so bear with me. The good thing about...
Golf X-ray Juliet, runway 26, winds 245 at 5, cleared for takeoff.
Copy the winds, cleared for takeoff, Golf X-ray Juliet. Right, let's take the runway. Just having a quick look. I'd be shocked if there was something coming in. What a murky day. It's quite one of the things I do love about this sim actually is how the weather can change. When you think what it was like when we first started, it was fairly clear here, and now it's right in the murk. Okay, so 5,000 feet and maintain runway heading is my first challenge. Hey Andrew, hope you're doing well. Yeah, the Comanche is beautiful, and it's wonderful that it's so good that it gives you the opportunity to do this kind of stuff and stretch yourself a little bit. Okay, quick look around. Everything is fine, everything's good, all my lights are on. I'm going to put the pitot heat on. Did forget that. Okay. Right, let's go. Let's give it some beans. Feels very nose light. Okay, positive rate to climb, gear up. Bit more throttle, come back on the prop a little bit. Watching the heading. Now we are pretty blind. So this is where the instrument flying comes in, my particular weakness. Let's quickly get that up. Keep the climb in, watch the speed.
Golf X-ray Juliet, contact departure on 128.975.
Departure on 128.975, Golf X-ray Juliet. Right, just quickly looking at everything. Departure Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet, climbing to 5,000 feet, maintaining runway heading. I really don't think I needed to say maintaining runway heading. Probably needed to say climbing to 5,000 feet though.
Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet, Innsbruck radar, identified. Cleared direct air delo. Climb 5,000.
Clear direct Adilo, climb 5,000 feet. Golf X-ray Juliet. Now that's the controller that knows his stuff. You can tell by the voice. He ain't messing around. It's one of the great things about SayIntentions actually is the voices are very kind of lifelike. So being cleared direct to Adilo now, 5,000 feet. Now this is very similar to what happened the other day. So here we are, we've been cleared direct to Adilo. Actually, to be fair, once we get on the correct heading, it might not be so bad. But at the moment, as someone gleefully pointed out in the last video, after departure we are heading towards mountains. 5,000 feet doesn't really feel high enough, if I'm completely honest. But it might be that when we skirt round, because at the moment I'm just trying to intercept the course, the correct course. It might be that once we actually are more yeah, so we are kind of missing the we are missing the bumpy stuff, but not by very much. So Request climb to 8,000 feet, Golf X-Ray Juliet.
Golf X-Ray Juliet, climb altitude 8,000 feet.
Climb altitude 8,000 feet, Golf X-Ray Juliet. Right. Let's do that. See, that was syncing. That's the thing with instrument flying, and that's again something someone picked up on the last video with great glee, that I asked for climb and then I was actually syncing, and that's what happens. I'm so busy faffing around with other things that I'm not concentrating on the good old six-pack and checking what I'm actually doing. So let's keep scanning the instruments. Scan the instruments. Don't get fixated on one thing. Let's have a bit of trim. Trim is your friend. Getting buffeted around a fair bit now. Quick look at everything. I am going to put the carb heat on. Yeah, there we go. Manifold pressure building up there. Sim's just frozen, and it back again, thank God. Yeah, I just had a feeling then that I could see that we were losing manifold pressure, and it kind of makes sense where we are, that we are going to we're going to lose some manifold pressure if we've got some carb ice in, because we're in visible moisture and the temperature is fitting for the possibility of carb icing. I'm really sorry that I'm not responding to chat right at the moment. I will do shortly, but I'm just concentrating on the flying portion of today's event. One of the things that I'm noticing right now is that we are not climbing very quickly. I'm just leaning a little bit. And that was why we weren't climbing very quickly, because I hadn't leaned enough. So I'm not using the engine management, I'm using my ears and I'm looking at the EGT, watching the climb there, watching the heading, scanning around the instruments, all that good stuff, because that's how we don't crash into anything. We're about to reach 8,000 feet. Watch where you're going. There we go. Let's get back on course. A little bit of turbulence. We seem to be getting chucked around a bit now, which is interesting. What I'm going to do is, once we get into something that is a semblance of cruise, I'm going to bob the autopilot on. But for the time being...
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
Okay. Request climb to 10,000 feet, Golf X-Ray Juliet. He probably noticed the urgency in my voice then. Requested climb! I have busted my altitude a little bit. He's having to think about it.
Golf X-Ray Juliet, climb altitude 10,000 feet approved.
Climb 10,000 feet, Golf X-Ray Juliet. So what I did there, right, was as I'm responsible for the safety of you and the aeroplane, I started my climb before I'd had clearance. I might get told off by the controller, but at least I won't slam into the side of the mountain, and that's what I was worried about.
Golf X-Ray Juliet, Contact Vienna radar on 134.44.
Contact Vienna radar on 134.44.
ahead.
Golf
Terrain
X-ray
ahead.
Juliet. Let's keep that climb in. I'm going to aviate first and we can communicate in a second. Come on, keep the climb in. I know that at 10,000 feet we're just above the mountains, you see, based on when I looked on the map before. So let's come over here, come back, no sinkage, no sinkage. Right, let's get the autopilot warmed up. Okay, and then boom, 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 track. So autopilot's now on track. And now and so the sun appeared. You didn't know you were going to get music, did you? No, you're thinking. I didn't want it either. I didn't ask for it. I've come here for the flying and the mistake making, not the damn singing. Okay, so just bringing us back down. So the autopilot is now tracking the GPS. As we get close to the next turn, we might have to help it out, because this is an old school autopilot that doesn't really like, we can have the fuel pump off, doesn't really like tight turns. Okay. Come on. Come on, my little friend. We've got altitude engaged now. I think we're going to need some, I'm sensing some down trim, a little bit more. Right, and as you can see, we are icing up as well, so it's all happening. So let's have a look here. Carpet pull on. Let's get rid of that. Defroster. That's all off. Quick look around there. Look at that. The beautiful vista of the Alps, and we're above it and we're safe. Right, let's have a quick look over here.
Golf X-ray Juliet. Contact Vienna radar on
Good God.
134.44.
I was so excited about getting into clear air, I forgot to contact him. Contact Vienna radar on 134.44. He's saying, where the hell did you get to, sunshine? You're already halfway through my sector. That didn't take correctly. What was it? 134.44. What's that? Mogti. Vienna radar, Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet is level at 10,000 feet, heading direct Mogti. Bear with me, Andrew, we'll answer your question in a sec.
Good evening, Roger.
QNH 1010, Golf X-ray Juliet. So we got change in QNH. I love how the radio sounds so realistic as well. That is rather cool, isn't it? Oh, let's have a quick. So that's good. We are out of visible moisture, but we're about to turn into it. So I'm going to leave the carb heat on for the time being. That's alright, that's alright. Happy with that. Happy with that. Okay. And we're getting nice and toasty. I've got all the heating on. Just going to close that. Okay. Now, interesting. God, you know, for a moment then it felt like it was dipping down. It actually felt like it was going down, but it's not. Just having a quick look around. Defroster is on. Cabin heat is on. Just trying to make sure I've got everything on so it's not going to suddenly get worse. Okay, right. Catch up with the chat. Andrew, what VR setup do you have? Headset. So this is the Grass Monkey King Puck. So it attaches to the headset with Velcro, and it works an absolute treat. You just have to charge batteries up to use it all the time, but it really is quite superb. Ben, it's funny how you know what to say yet the words come out all wrong. How very polite of you, sir. Yes. Yeah, you kind of know what information you need to give, but sometimes it doesn't quite seem to work. It is a beautiful view, Aidan. Well, it was a beautiful view until we hit this. Now it's rather dull and not so great. Ben, when does the TORS start warning? It's a good question, and I don't know. I would imagine it will start warning you when you're a certain distance from the obstacle, but what that distance is, I honestly couldn't tell you. Right, that beep was just telling me that I need a bit of up trim just to keep it steady. Roll dark. On my flight the other day, I lost total engine power out of nowhere. Everything was in the green, and we just fell out of the sky. No idea what happened. Were you in the Comanche, Roll dark? I should say, by the way, let's have the landing lights off. I should say, I know that you wouldn't necessarily do this kind of flying in this aircraft. Again, this is a simulation. What I'm trying to do is challenge myself by flying this in a small aeroplane with a not so sophisticated autopilot and see what happens. So I'm sure, you know, if someone hasn't done it already, when this is video on demand, someone will say you wouldn't do that in this aeroplane. Probably not, but as I say, it's a simulator, and this is, think of it as an exercise, an experiment. Yeah, let's call it an experiment. So I've got the defroster on, but I guess it is clearing. It's hard to tell now. Certainly not helping much with the ice that's building up on the side. Not least, we've got a bit of ice building up on the wing. It looks like ice building up on the wing. So again, this is one of those moments where if this was real world, you would right now you'd be absolutely mad. This is one of those situations that you read about in Pilot magazine. You know, those kind of, I learned about flying from, you know, there I was at 10,000 feet over the Alps with no real de-icing available in my aircraft, and I had ice building up. Yeah, it's not very sensible. Not very sensible indeed. Let's have a quick look at the old GPS. Once we clear these mountains, I can actually ask for descent. but I think the cloud is so high that I don't think it's necessarily going to get us out of cloud. I could ask for climb to get above the cloud, but I don't really think that's going to help us either. So we could have a look, but we are clear of a lot of the lumpy bumpy stuff now. We're just coming out of it. I might we'll see. Crusher, do you have the authenticate throttle for the A2A Comanche? I'm tempted to get it. I don't. I've got the they very kindly gave me the Spitfire trim to build and give it a try, but I haven't got the TPM. I'm using the Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant, which works quite well. But yeah, the authenticate. Let me just lock this off. Where's the where have you gone? Give me the button. Suddenly realised we're running full bore with the RPM. Yeah, it does look really good, and it looks quite faithful. Does GTN 750 talk to your CDI? Yes, it does. So if you can, I don't know if you can look now, but you can see that the needle is bang on, and down on the GTM we've got it set to GPS, but the needle on the HSI anyway is following the GTM. Not sensible, but the sim is the perfect place to learn from those kind of mistakes. Andrew, do you know what? That is what this is all about. This isn't about being when I talk about wanting to stretch myself, that's everything that's happening. The icing. Oh, hang on a minute. Look at that. Look at that. How beautiful. Yeah, it's stretching myself. It's having all these different things happen. For me, it's the best way to learn an aircraft and learn the behaviour of an aircraft. You can bang circuits in somewhere nice and warm all day long. But you ain't going to learn as much. Right, 133.55. Contact Munich radar on 133.55 Golf X-ray Juliet. 13355. Just check that. Yeah, 13355. So this time, I'm going to say level at 10,000 feet, inbound to Kilo Papa Tango. That's all we got to say. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just say I'm leveled at 10,000 feet. He's got me... anyway. What's it? Munich radar. I've got the frequency in. Munich radar. Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet with you. Level at 10,000 feet. Inbound to Kilo Papa Tango. And before someone says in the chat, yes, I know you're not meant to say with you.
Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet. Munich radar identified. Hello?
Hello. That was nice, wasn't it? That's another nice thing about SayIntentions. It does it injects a little human into it because it will do funny little things like that. That'll probably what was it? That'll probably turn your carb heating on every so often, especially in wet conditions. Ben, are you answering roll doc? I guess I don't know. I'll tell you what we can do now that we're clear of visible moisture. We can turn the carb heat off. Just bring the RPM down a little bit. The RPM there is actually a good example of I was so busy doing other things I forgot a basic thing earlier on. I'm sure someone probably spotted it or will have already written a comment when this goes VOD. I had forgotten to adjust the RPM and we were still at full chat. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Beautiful. Andrew, logging up my PC and going to watch you on my TV. Don't want to miss the thing. Okay, Andrew. You are brave. You are a brave chap. I'll give you that. Wanting to watch this on the TV. Right, quick look down here. Inbound KPT. So that's nice. Again, this turn, we might want to help it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is let's just bring this round here. We'll have a quick look. I've been using the GTN. That's the great thing with the GTN, and also you can have charts on this now. You don't need to constantly look at Navigraph charts. But what's the next heading? Doesn't actually tell us. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to help the Sim's frozen up, don't you dare crash. I'm just going to help. Actually, that's quite a gentle turn. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to help. I'm going to round the corner a little bit. So we'll put it onto heading mode. And we'll just round the corner. Did leave that a little bit late. So I'm now using the heading mode to do the turn rather than following the track. This is a little bit the track following on this autopilot is a bit like waving a dog biscuit in front of a dog's nose, rather than a modern autopilot where it's going to stick to it rigidly. So sometimes you do need to help it a little bit. So we're back on track mode now. You can see the needle is nicely centered. So happy with that. We're maintaining our altitude. Happy with manifold and RPM. 2020 on those. Just leaning a tad. Fuel is good. T's and P's are good. Everything's fine. What could go wrong? Right, where are we? Bullet decay. About 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. How much do you need to descend? I don't know if that's to me or to someone else. Yeah. I don't know if you're talking about Bullet. I don't know if you're referring to. Are you referring to adiabatic lapse rate or something like that? Getting out to the freezing temperatures. As you can see, it's rather cold. That's a good point, that. So 10, well, we 5, so we'd need to descend at 2,000-3,000 feet, I guess. Yeah, okay. I get it. So yeah, based on that, descend about 3,000 feet, which actually, to be fair, we could do now, because we're certainly above, or we're away from the nasty stuff. Looking at the wing, I'm not really seeing much more in the way of ice building up, so I think we've kind of got around that. The I guess it's the defrosting is keeping us, giving us a fairly clear part in the centre of the windscreen. I've never used defrosting on the Comanche in this sim before. Never really flown in this kind of in icing conditions. It hasn't got much in the way of de-icing equipment, so
Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet Munich radar. Expect the ILS runway 14 approach to Zurich. Neger 2 Alpha arrival. Expect descent in 20 minutes. Advise if you want to descend sooner.
expect the ILS runway 14 approach into Zurich. Negra 2 Alpha arrival. and expect descent in 20 minutes. Golf X-ray Juliet. So ILS runway 14. Let's get that banged in now. Something just came up then. ILS 14. They've not given us a okay, they've not given us a transition, but what I'm going to do is let's have a look how this all fits in. So ILS, let me show you, actually yeah, I can show you on this, can't I? Boom. Right, you can see this now. So it's the ILS 14, that one. Transition Amici. So yeah, it's going to be Amici, isn't it? Because that's how we're coming in. We're coming in this way. So we'll go transition Amici, runway 14. Just check I've got the right one. And we will add to route, just keeping it simple. There we go. So that's all nicely set up. We're going to be coming in on runway 14. So we'll come over here, round there, and down that way. Let's get the chart up. There we go. So we can see a bit more clearly now. Around here, and then we need to be 4,000 feet at Osnem. Osnem is here. Of course, obviously, the sensible thing to do is to review the charts before you go flying. That certainly helps, but at least that gives us an idea now. But for the time being, let's pop the arrival. So this is where we're coming in. 7,000, we've got to be above 7,000 feet at this point here at Amici, so we're absolutely fine. Everything is tickety-boo. Famous last words. So what did I say? Transition. Let's put it back to here. There we go, and transition is Amici. Gives us two options for Amici, but I'm going to go with that. What's that? Z. Okay. So that's given, that looks slightly different to, let's see what that one looks. That's it. That's the one. So again, based on mistakes that I've made before, it's always best to cross-check the approach that's in the Navigraph charts against what's in the box here, because that's the correct one. The one before was different. So we'll load that in. That's all good to go. Come back here, back onto there. Everything is fine. Right, let's pop that back on there and lock it off. Right, Andrew, what are you using? As I see, when you turn your head, the view changes. So I am using, very quickly, see if that works. Yep, I'm using, you see that there? That is the, that's the Grass Monkey King Puck, and it's basically a box with a battery in it and some electronics, and then it's got some UV LEDs here, and then up there is a camera, and that camera is looking at this, and as I let me put it back on again. As I move around, it's tracking the three lights here, and very precisely it knows where my head is. So as I move around, it can track my head. And the risk of boring everyone, because I was talking about it before, I've come back to this from using Toby, because this system of tracking lights is so so precise compared to Toby that I have had to come back to it. I'm just looking at the manifold pressure to see if that's dropping at all. No, I thought maybe we'd pick up some carb icing. Okay. Well, I gotta say, so far, so good. Quick check of T's and P's. Fuel, good, that's fine. I think I said it before, because this is AccuSim, you have to be so careful because things do go wrong. You can have failures. So you can't just sit in it and think, yeah, everything's going to be cool. You can't ignore the instruments. Something could be going wrong and you don't know about it. Look, there's ground. I'm a little bit tempted to request descent early, actually. The part of me that wants to experiment wants to see at what point the controller is going to give me descent, because quite a few flights ago, the controller didn't seem to, he was leaving it quite late before giving descent instructions. And it's interesting, that's an issue that I also had with Pilot to ATC. So you suddenly find yourself coming in too high for the start of the star. So interested to see what happens here. But I'm also thinking it would be great to get below the cloud. Although I'm not sure we would do. Shall we give it a try? Let's give it a try. Request descent to 7,000 feet. Golf X-ray Juliet. Excuse me.
Golf X-ray Juliet, descend at 7,000.
Descend 7,000 feet, Golf X-ray Juliet. Okay, let's take altitude off. Let's come back on the power. I am going to put carb heat on as we descend through the cloud. Wouldn't it be lovely to see some land? The beautiful vista of Switzerland. Where is it, Switzerland here? This is that part of the world where you've got all sorts of different things going on. Liechtenstein and all that kind of thing. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you on here. What's the outside temperature? Still nicely below freezing. Keeping an eye on. We've got a nice even descent. Checking the EGT. Checking the chat. Crash Ed, it's a game changer for flight simming. Well worth investing in if you don't have one. Yeah, head tracking. You know, it's easy for me to say it because I've used it for so many years, but I can't imagine flying now without head tracking. I can't imagine sitting there and then using the hat switch to go and all that kind of thing. It's so intuitive. A great way, if you ever get head tracking for the first time, a great way of realizing for the first time the full advantage of it is to fly circuits. And it's just like, yeah, totally get it. The ability to look around as you're in the circuit to reference the runway, reference your position and all that kind of thing. It's just priceless. It really is quite wonderful. Oh, okay, Andrew. Yeah, I was going to say Grass Monkey. Grass Monkey is a lot cheaper. It's only when I bought this, it's a lot cheaper than Track IR. But in terms of exchange rate in South Africa. I'm not sure how that would pan out. Yeah. So I'm saying yep, like you know what I'm talking about. I was just reading Crashhead's comment about lower cost options. There are, and I've not tried them, but I know people have had really good results with using something like OpenTrack, which is what GrassMonkey is by default is using, and you know, using a mobile phone as a camera. I think that's how it works. There's something called Beam something or other, which I've heard works quite well as well, although for me that's probably a little bit too close to how Toby works. Maybe I'm just being a boring old fart, but 3 lights stuck to the side of your head works so well, you can't go wrong. So here we are, we're approaching 7,000 feet, and we are well and truly in the cloud. So I descended into the cloud deeper. Congratulations, what a wally. Not very nice at all. So let's level off there. Which way are you going? Get rid of that. The alt back in, and I'm just going to, again, a little bit late, I'm going to feed it round the corner. And we need some up trim. Good God, the sun. Now the reason we needed up trim then, as I'm sure the more astute amongst you, was because I still had the throttle in quite a low position. Now this is interesting, but is it? But is it? Right, let's get that back on. There's something going on here, something else going on. So we have got manifold and RPM back at 2020, but look at the speed. Look at the speed. Is that because we've built up ice, I wonder? This is all part of the experiment. Our airspeed is quite slow. We have got the pitot heat on. Let's have a quick look at what's going on here. I have got the carb heat on. Maybe it's the carb heat that's causing that. Okay, that's not looking too bad. I don't think this is going to tell us much. No, not really. Not at this stage. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. But we are flying rather slowly. I mean, our ground speed is what, 128 knots. So yeah, interesting. This is the point where the experts in the comments will be saying, oh well, it's because you did this or you didn't do that. But I think it's probably the carb heat is eating away at some of the juice, for want of a better way of putting it. Let's put that back on to lock it, and then I can have a slurp. Just catching up with the chat. BK739, there you go. Okay, so is that what you're doing? Are you using OpenTrack with a webcam or something like that? Do you find that it's really precise? Because then that makes me wonder, with OpenTrack, do you really need to spend all that money on something that... Yeah. Ben Slade, I got to fly a Piper Arrow in real life for my first ever flight earlier this year. Amazing experience.
Contact Zurich, final approach on 125.33.
Right, just bear with me, folks. Lewis, mate, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? We have Lewis from A2A in the chat, so there's no pressure at all on me now not to screw this up. Okay, let's see, where we are. Let's get that back so I can have a look. So we're inbound to Mativ. Zurich approach, Golf Alpha Papa X-Ray Juliet, level at 7,000 feet, inbound to Mativ. Okay. Ben, that must have been wonderful. There's nothing like...
Alpha Papa X-Ray Juliet. Zurich final approach identified. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, there's nothing like doing it for real, and it is amazing how it is only a simulator, but I think it puts your mind in the right place for when you're doing real world flying. I've kind of done the opposite. I did some real world flying when I was younger. It got as far as first solo. It was paid for by it was kind of a previous life in some work that I was doing, some training I was doing, and they got you up to the point of first solo, and then it was up to you if you wanted to do it in your own time, then you could do. So pretty much most of my flying since then has been in the simulator, but and I'm not just saying this because Lewis is in the chat, but I got pretty bored with flight simming until I discovered A2A, and then the A2A in FSX gave me a similar feeling to what I remembered from when I did real world flying. Yeah, definitely, I think it definitely helps you. I think obviously you don't get the physical feedback that you get in the real thing, but as I say, I think it puts your head in the right place. It shows you what you're meant to be looking at, what you're meant to be taking, giving attention to. Interesting story. Hello, hopefully you aren't trying to showcase any scenery today. Absolutely not. Although having said that, look at that. Hang on. Whoa. Isn't that lovely? You see a bit of ice building up there, but not too much. Right, let's close that. It's getting a bit chilly. Right, let's have a look. I think we're going to be okay there. So we're about to, we're getting to the first point. We're getting to the transition point of the beeping at me to trim. We're getting to the transition point of the arrival. And all we've had so far, I'm just checking, we've had expect, we haven't had clearance for the arrival yet. All we've had is the expect. So I would expect Zurich final approach to have cleared us for the arrival, which they haven't done, but they might still do. There's still a bit of time. On the last flight we did, if you watched that, they didn't do it. Right, let's just refocus that. Need to have a bit of trim. Lewis, are you placing this flight in your little logbook? I am. I don't know if anyone's seen the other videos. A chap called T. Rudd very kindly sent me a Comanche logbook, which you can get on Amazon. I'll try and remember to put a link in this video, but otherwise it's in the last video that I did. There's a link to it there, and it's just an easy way of keeping track of your flights. I know the sim will track hours to a certain extent, and obviously you got your hobs and all that kind of thing, but it's quite nice having a physical logbook, I think. Just makes it a bit more realistic. Still got the carpet on. We're still 2020. T's and P's and all that is good. Speed has picked up a little bit. Ground speed is 141 knots, so that's all good. We are at 7,000 feet. At this point we're meant to be 7,000 feet or above, and that's all good. BK73, I quite like it. It's very inexpensive. You don't have to wear anything on your head, and no need for blackout blinds. Ah, cool. Yeah, there's one thing I should say. This is very sensitive. So on a sunny day, I've got a window. Well, you can just see it there. On a sunny day, if sunlight's coming in, even through the blinds, you only need a tiny amount, and it interferes with the camera. So I have to put a blackout blind up, but I am quite happy to live with that. after using the Toby, because this is just so nice and precise. Right, there we go. I'm going to have a quick look at something I'll quickly show you. I showed it on the last video, but with the GTNxi, if you get the Pro version, because I'm a pro in it, you can now use Navigraph charts with it as well. So there we go, and you can view those, zoom in and out and all that kind of good stuff. So it's quite handy having those in, and also it will inject
X-ray Juliet, Zurich final approach, cleared for the ILS runway 14 approach into Zurich, Nega 2 Alpha arrival.
There we go. Cleared for the ILS runway 14 approach into Zurich, Nega 2 Alpha arrival, Golf X-ray Juliet. Good, so we've had our clearance. I like it, I like it. Right, so let's have a quick look over here, if I remember to do this. Navigraph charts, has that gone? It has. Let's move that up there. Bum, bum, bum. So what is our... Come here. 111.75. And I'm just going to put that, come here. There we go. So we got that in transparent mode. Let's go back to stream. What was it? 111.75. And it's already preloaded in here because the GTN, that's not the ATC or anything. The GTN is clever enough to look at your route and see what you're doing and says, right, you're going to want this next. So we'll pop that in for when we're ready. So that's all nicely set up. We need to be 7,000 feet and above for the next waypoint, which we are. And lo, the sun did appear. Right, let's move that down there. Quick catch up with the chat. Lewis, how are you finding SayIntentions? I do like it, mate. I'm not sure I use it enough to warrant the cost. And it's interesting experimenting with it. The last video that I did with the Comanche, the ATC did some funny things, and then I did long and boring story. On this trip so far, it's behaved really nicely. It hasn't given me any climb or descent instructions. I've had to ask for them, as I did on the last trip. So I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It adds a layer of immersion, and that's all I can really say at the moment. The pilot to ATC felt like it used to give you more in the way of, you are now going to do this. I want you to climb to this. I want you to do that. Whereas SayIntentions seems to be a little bit more, chilled out, watching what you're doing, and something for you to interact with. But it's been a long time since I've done a SayIntentions flight in something that is, flying higher, doing something a bit more complicated. It's certainly in terms of a vertical route. What the hell am I talking about? Right, this is quite a tight turn, so I have left it a little bit late and it's doing it already. So I'm going to feed it round, give the autopilot a bit of a chance. Lewis, Scott was interested in trying some of the new Gen AI enhanced ATC stuff. I tell you what, Lewis, it would be very interesting if Scott can get hold of a copy of SayIntentions, or even just try it for a month. I think he will find I don't know, because because I don't do VATSIM. I would assume to know too much about it, but I think I've been surprised at the lack of instruction that I get from SayIntentions on departures and arrivals. But I seem to remember reading somewhere that that's almost still kind of work in progress that they're doing. Yeah, I think it's definitely getting there, and it definitely adds a layer of immersion. Flights like this, VA flights using ATC, it does add a lot to it, even if it's not absolutely bang on accurate to the real world. It adds something to it. I'm just looking over there at those clouds. Isn't that beautiful? It's a simulator, for crying out loud. That ain't beautiful, what we're about to fly into, and that certainly isn't beautiful. But just over there, a cloud landscape. Crushhead, beyond ATC. I haven't tried it, but I tell you what, I'm very interested to know. I'd love if there is anyone in the chat that's used beyond ATC and also SayIntentions. I'd be interested to see what you think. My understanding is that beyond ATC is using a program to provide the ATC instructions and rules and all that kind of thing, and it's using AI to provide the voices, whereas SayIntentions is 100% AI driven. And I remember reading somewhere, I think one of the developers had said that if you think of SayIntentions in terms of trying to teach air traffic control procedures and rules and everything to a 6-year-old child, that's kind of what SayIntentions is like. They're having to teach the AI how ATC works, whereas beyond ATC, a little bit like Pilot to ATC, is a program that's programmed to do it. God, look at me. Sorry, I'm not a technical person, but hopefully that explains what I understand about it anyway. Ben, are you using beyond ATC? Right, quick look at everything. So we are going to be over there at Osnem. Okay, this we definitely need to, what's that? We are definitely going to need to help this round the corner. So I'm going to get ready with that. Just trying to see what the heading is meant to be. 333. Oh, let's quickly check. 24. So we can see that's actually drifted. So let's pop that back in. Pop that back in. Yeah, so we'll get that corrected. What was this? 333. 333. All the threes. Come on. And I'm going to help it with the turn. Jumped forward then, but down trim. 333. There we go. And let's put it onto heading mode. And I'm looking for. Let's get that in there. So I'm going to descend to 4,000 feet. I'm just double checking there's nothing else in there in terms of what I should be any other height in there, and there isn't apart from 4,000 feet that I can see. So that's bringing it round nicely. Beautiful, beautiful. So we've just helped it round the bend there, and now we will put it back onto tracking. So that's all good. Look at that, it's green, it's the ground. Actually, let's take it off autopilot. Let's take it off autopilot. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Right. What did I say? 4,000 feet. Let's descend. Flight info. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with the chat, guys. I'm just concentrating on this. So we have the autopilot off. We have fuel pumping on. Concentrate. We're in cloud again. In cloud again. Fuel selector, desired tank, both. For that is what we desire. Concentrating on flying as well. Fuel levels check. Yep, they're both good. Fuel pressure check. Fuel pressure is good. Concentrate on flying. Make sure we're still descending. Which we are. That's funny. It's very deceptive. Sometimes the outside world, you feel that you like. I'm looking at that thinking, oh, we're level. We're not. We're sinking, which is what we want to do. Right, prop lever, fully forward, mixture rich. Carb heat as required. I'm going to take carb heat off at this point because we are almost clear of visible moisture. Airspeed a little bit fast at 120, but that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to dangle the Dunlops at the moment. We are just going to get round and do that. Right, let's get rid of you. Let's focus slightly right or to the left of track. Double checking 4,000 feet. Apologies if I drive you mad with constant checking, but I am just trying to make sure that I've not done something stupid. Quick look down. Let's have the landing lights on. Quick look at the chat. Oh, you trialled both. If BATC can control traffic to veer, then it'll be a winner for me. Ah. Ben. Question for you. What is it about Beyond ATC that you prefer to SayIntentions? Really interested to see what you think. Because funny enough, I was thinking the other day I might give it a try, but because I don't use it that much, so I'm sure I can't remember what the pricing structure is now, but to get the fancy schmancy voices, I'm sure it wouldn't cost me too much, because it's not like I'm going to rack up the hours on it. But yeah, I'd love to know what it is that you really like about it. Totally overshot it there. So a good example again of being a silly boy. I'm looking at the map rather than actually looking at the needle on the HSI. I'm just looking at the map, flying the little aircraft around on the map, which is absolutely bloody stupid. Because as you can see, we've gone. It's not accurate enough for that range. I should be flying the needle. You great fool. Ben, the traffic control. No more lunatics landing in the wrong heading, but it's still in dev and it's a subscription. Okay. Yeah, I am tempted to. I'm tempted to give it a try. I kind of want an ATC. For example, when we took off there, my initial climb was 5,000 feet, and the ATC was quite happily letting us fly towards a mountain. Now my thought process is we are under an air traffic control service which should be, I would have thought, giving us some kind of climb instruction to avoid terrain. Ultimately, the responsibility is my own as the pilot, which is why I asked for a climb in the end. But I would kind of expect ATC to give me some sort of an instruction, and it didn't. It gave me the initial instruction, initial climb to, I think, was it 5,000 feet, but then it didn't really tell me what to do after that. And to avoid pranging into the murky old mountainside, I had to ask for climb. Regional voices. Yeah, it does make a difference. It's one of the things I love about SayIntentions actually, is that you do get regional voices, and again, it just adds to the immersion. Quick look at T's and P's. Bringing around. There's the runway over there. We've lost a bit of height with all my messing around, but we're tracking the approach. Let's get that height back. Flying instructor in my head saying, for God's sake, keep an eye on the instruments. There we go. There we go. So the GTN hasn't at this point switched into approach mode. So I'm just going to see what it does. We're coming up to Osnem. I'm going to see if it switches at Osnem. Just pointing us back onto track. Got a little bit too high there. Have a little bit of trim. Oh, FD Miller. Thanks for watching,
Vertical
mate.
track.
And there we go. It's kicked in now onto the approach. But interestingly, our HSI is not responding. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Yeah, sorry, FD Miller. Take care, mate. And I hope your damage isn't too bad, although I suspect that was quite a nasty
Golf X-ray Juliet, contact Zurich Tower on 118.1.
that was a nasty storm. 118.1. Contact Zurich Tower on 118.1 Golf X-ray Juliet. Zurich Tower, Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet, established ILS runway 14. You pillock. Okay.
Golf Alpha Papa X-ray Juliet, ZA 1 Cordridge Airport Tower, roger.
Okay, let's double check. ILS 11175. 11175, but we've got no nothing on the HSI. So we're doing an ILS approach, but we've got no ILS input into the HSI. I'm just thinking it through. I have no idea why that isn't working, so we'll do a visual approach.
Golf Alpha Papa X-Ray Juliet ZA 1 Ridge Airport Tower, wind 020 at 8, runway 14 clear to land.
Copy the winds, clear to land, runway 14 Golf X-Ray Juliet. Right, let's bring that down now. Concentrating so much on trying to figure out why the HSI hasn't come alive that just forgetting some of the basic things. So we're just going to lose some speed, drop the gear. That awful sound will stop, and then a bit of flappage. Yeah, I wonder why the ILS hasn't transferred over to the HSI. I wonder if this is a failure. It could. I mean, you know, this is AccuSim, so it could be a failure. Let's have a bit of trim. Quick look down. Green, good. We cannot rule anything out at this stage. Michael Baker, good to have you here, sir. Sorry I was a bit late in acknowledging you. I'm just concentrating on a few things. Trying not to figure out what's going on with the HSI. I'm hoping it's a failure because I would love to
500.
show that as an example of you know, what AccuSim does. Now, just notice something else. The which I'm going to look at when we get down, but I'm looking at the GTN, and it doesn't look correct. I'm faffing about looking at things, not focusing on landing. So can we focus on landing and not floating? Thank God it's a long runway, eh? Good God, that was a rough arrival. There we go. So, I tell you what I am, the reason why I am not sure.
Golf X-Ray Juliet, welcome to Zurich. Contact ground on 121.905.
Let's have a look here. Did I... No, so I've landed on the right runway. It was runway 14. Let me show you. So I've obviously got the wrong... Have I got the wrong procedure in the box? No, ILS runway 14. Okay. That's runway 16. So what is going on? Yeah, we flew in over there. Why has it got Amiki? It looks like it's gone back. I wonder if that's missed approach maybe. Because we definitely landed on the right runway, but as we were coming in then, I was looking at that and getting distracted by it. Still don't know why ILS hasn't come on, so let's have a quick look at let me lean, and yes, before anyone says it, yeah, I know you shouldn't be sitting on the runway, you wouldn't do it in a real aeroplane, but we're in a simulator and I'm trying to figure something out. Frequency, where we go, so tower, ILS, runway 14, 111.75, which is what we've got there, active, but the HSI is still dead, so now I'm interested, and now it's getting really dark. Sorry guys, just looking at the I was looking at the chat, now I'm looking at this. Contact ground on 121.905 Golf X-ray Juliet. Suddenly got dark, hasn't it? 121 12. Okay. You plonker. Click the right box. 121.905. I'm not concentrating on anything now apart from trying to figure out what's going on with this, which is why I'm doing silly things. Right. Zurich ground. Ooh. Zurich ground. Golf X-ray Juliet. Request taxi to parking. I haven't vacated the runway yet, but let's bring that up. Just toot along.
Golf X-ray Juliet, taxi to general aviation parking via Hotel 1, Hotel Bravo, Bravo 1, cross runway 28, then Alpha 1, Papa 1, cross runway 3, then cross runway 4 at your discretion. Have a good day.
So that's quite complicated, and there's no way I'm focusing on that because I'm focusing on the HSI. Ben, could be a failure, could be a problem with the sim, or could be user error. You never know with these damn sims. Yeah, I need to have a look at that. Bullet, did you activate the approach? Yes, I did. Yep. Hopefully you caught that before, but I did. I checked it and I activated it. HSI might be running on GPS signal still. No, it's on VLOC. So when we got to the point, what was it? Let's get the map back up so I get the right one. Don't want that. Back there. Which one was it? It was when we got to Osnem. Do you remember? I don't know. I was probably waffling too much. At Osnem, I said I wonder if it's going to switch over, and it did. And it switched over onto the approach at that point. But the HSI, and that's really when the HSI died. So not quite sure, but we've got VLOC on. If I put it onto GPS, you see now we're getting lateral indication. Our glide slope is still off, but we're getting lateral. If I put it back onto VLOC, then we lose it. ATC is not going to be happy because I've completely ignored his instructions, and I'm going to, because we're not going to faff about doing all that. I just want to get to a point because I really am interested. This is why I never fly into big airports. Yeah, well, you go down Bravo, then Foxtrot, then Alpha, then Charlie, then Delta, then you cross runway 33, then onto Alpha Bravo Yankee Zulu, then halfway down Charlie, you then go on to Zulu, and then you go on to Quebec, and then you hang a right, and then you hit Hotel, alright? Remember that? Got it, good. So we're going to pull up over here, because I really want to find out what's going on with this HSI. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Parking brake on. And I'm going to... no. God, remember what button did I use for it? No, it wasn't that one. Was it that one? There we go. So, let's have a look. Parking brake on. We can have the strobes off. We can have the landing lights off. Should have done that before. We can have the fuel pump off. I've already got it leaned out, so that's all good. This is persistent state, so I need to be careful I don't do anything to break the aeroplane. Right, have we got any popped out? No. None of those are popped out. Okay, let's have a look at the... Nothing wrong there. Breakers are all good. Okay, let's try something. Let's have a look. Sorry, this could be where it gets a little less interesting for you, because I'm just trying to troubleshoot a problem. Let's have a look. Why, oh why would that not be working? 111.75. 111.75 is in the box. But it's dead as a dodo. Yep, I don't know. Not sure why that's not worked. Certainly nothing obvious that springs to mind, with the circuit breakers all good to go. Let's try something. Yeah, let's tune into this VOR. Okay, so that has now come on. Okay, so it's not the aircraft, but for whatever reason the ILS is not working at the airport. I'm fully navigraphed up. I've got all the right navigraphs navigraphing in. So not quite sure what has gone wrong there, but yeah, I think it's just chalk it up to one of those weird and wonderful sim things where things don't always go right, and that's what makes it interesting. Anyway, what's the time now? Wow, so we've been going for what, just about 2 hours, quarter of an hour, something like that. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I think, as I said at the start, I'm no expert, so this is very much a training thing. I actually, as frustrating as it is that the ILS didn't kick in, I still find it interesting because it's an experience. It's good to know or it's good when things like that happen, because at least it gets you thinking through things. Of course, the next thing to do is I'll double check through that I've got Navigraph injected, the latest update, Navigraph injected and everything. I'm sure I have, and then it's one of those things, I could restart the sim and then I could come to it tomorrow, and bang, the ILS is there and everything is working as it should do. So yeah, it is definitely a mystery that didn't kick in. There you go, ILS in the box now, and it's gone dead. Very odd. Anyway, as I said, thanks ever so much for joining. It has been a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you along, and everyone in the chat, thanks for getting involved as well. Always interesting to talk, especially about the ATC stuff. That's got me wondering now. I need to have a look at that. Anyway, I'll start waffling. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the channel soon. Cheers now. Bye bye.